Okay, well, hello there, everybody. I don't know how to put the chat in. I don't know how to overlay that in my stream yet, so I kind of got this jerry rig thing going on the right side here. Now, what I'm trying to do, uh, well, this involves Quakecon, which is kind of id Software's con they do every year that is centered. Well, it was first centered around their software, and then when they got bought up by ZeniMax and who's owned by Bethesda, QuakeCon kind of became something that involved, multiple organizations. And oh, we got a little slight break here in the graphic. That's okay. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I think it kind of works in a way. So it's not strictly about id Software's stuff at this point, but it is something that you can always expect them to be showcasing something new that they're working on. And this year, QuakeCon is doing their first art contest, like a fan art contest. And I thought, well, I've been a Doom fan for more than 20 years now, almost a quarter century. So what would I be bringing to the table to kind of impress them with? And if I want to have any chance of doing at all well in this contest, and you're going to see hopefully pretty soon what I have in mind. I'm kind of probably about 85 to 90% finished, and right now this probably looks kind of confusing, but I wanted to create something that felt appropriate to the Doom universe, and this is sort of a background that is loosely inspired by all the techie stuff in the original Doom logo, which if you look at it, it's a very kind of tech-heavy logo. It's one of the busier logos that I've seen in any video game, and it's always kind of fascinated me how ridiculously detailed it is. And an effect like this looks pretty nice. It gives a nice chrome effect to the tech, which I created a pattern in Illustrator and then kind of had a couple of concentric circles generated from it. Now, it's kind of needs something for all the wire stuff that needs to kind of have its own kind of bevel effect. And bevel and emboss can look mighty cheesy when used improperly, but and a lot of times I would say it's not particularly appropriate to use because the effects can just look really corny. And I remember back in the late 90s, there was this tendency, the late 90s and early 2000s, maybe even a bit beyond that, there was this tendency to use bevel and emboss to emphasize or accentuate, I guess, text. And let's just say it wasn't a good look. You've more than likely seen some media, maybe not in like, say, a movie poster, but maybe more so in graphic design, advertising. You've probably seen, a somewhat questionable use of this filter. So I'm kind of changing the light direction here to match more of what I'm kind of seeing in my head as far as implied light direction. And this doesn't look terrible. You gotta know when to use the effect, is what I'm saying. If you use it appropriately, like I'm attempting to here, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Now, it does still look kind of corny, and I'm going to be doing more with this to kind of give it a slightly more depth. Yeah, I guess I gotta make... Okay, that... Oh, I forget that anytime you change the light direction, all the layers containing bevel and emboss, even though they may have different contours or overlays, will conform to the new light direction. It's kind of a peculiar feature. It seems to be designed to maintain consistency, which is good, but there may be times when... I guess it's kind of hard to imagine, I don't know. I'm not sure what circumstances would require me to have different directions for the light. So it just seems like it's a very pragmatic kind of move to make sure that your lighting direction is consistent across all the layers, you know, that use bevel and emboss. So this does not look too bad at all. It's appropriately techy, and you know, the little lights here kind of need to have their own effect too. And this can be accomplished with a glow. I could probably also use a blur, but that usually requires a lot of extra layering, so I'm just going to use the glow here. And I'm going to make the size significantly smaller, like 80, maybe even 60. Let's go ahead and go to 100%. And maybe overlay isn't the best thing to use. Oh man, it's just so hot, and I'm like itching everywhere, so I apologize that I keep scratching my face. Because I can just feel the itchies, because it's not like exceedingly hot, but it's hotter than I think I'd like. Now, I thought you could add more than one outer glow, so maybe that's not something you can do. So I may just have to yeah, I kind of pasted it twice there. Let's see what happens if I made this one 30 pixels. Okay, so that's kind of nice. I kind of like that effect. That's not bad. That kind of gives off the effect of a glowing technology, but it kind of kills the outline that I had around it. So maybe let's just do 50% on that. And maybe that other one could have I wonder if there's a different kind of, wait a second, I just thought of something. This should really be in the top layer. And then see what you get is there's kind of a mild glow in front of everything. Or is there? Yeah, there's a slight glow. Now if I tried something here, I wonder if I could get a better effect. Computer's going slow today. Yes, sir. That looks kind of neat. You gonna... Okay. Yeah, computer's really struggling here. I have a lot of software open right now because I'm trying to do a lot of things, and it's kind of sucks. So I know this looks kind of corny right now. Hopefully that will not be the case when I do what I'm about to do here. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to overwrite the original PNG that this was. Quake fan art background, or whatever, the Quakecon fan art background, whatever the hell I wrote. And it's going to take a minute. So what I'm going to do is bring this into After Effects, and After Effects has a wonderful feature that kind of can create a really psychedelic effect. It's the CC Kaleidoscope or something like that, and there's also CC Hex Tile, and I tend to use these filters to get certain effects that I don't really know how to achieve otherwise. I kind of just discovered it by accident, but I like the way this looks. It really has the technical computerized look I was going for, and this is going to be an enormous image, by the way. I'm a little worried about how freaking slow things are going to go when I try to get this going in After Effects, so I'll probably have to close all the other stuff. So I'm going to show you, this is the original graphic. So you can see it looks pretty interesting in Illustrator, but it's pretty flat. And this is the image I have, which is kind of an amalgamation of several kind of familiar Doom monsters, the Icon of Sin, the Doom 64 style Lost Soul, and then the old school Baron of Hell. And then behind it I have kind of a something that's very closely based on the Doom 64 pentagram, and some of the shading looks weird because it's designed to kind of fit over this. And I just really like how this turned out, although I'm a little worried that I don't want to obscure too much of the image. I think bringing it down like that kind of works nicely. And I'm especially pleased with how the horns came out and such. So it's pretty nice looking, and I would say, I don't know, I'd like to think that it's pretty faithful to the Doom art style, except it's in this sort of almost comic vector art kind of style. And I'm going to put something in the middle there. I'm not sure what yet. And I'm going to also try to create some texture for the pentagram, some nice cracks. And boy, oh boy, yeah, I probably shouldn't have, well, okay, Illustrator managed to save. So I'll just zoom in and kind of let you see a bit more detail here. I really wanted to just capture that whole Doom look, and I specifically chose colors from the Doom and Quake palettes, Doom and Quake 1, to try to really get that look going, with the colors anyway. And I use kind of a little inner glow effect for the fire there. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks, and boy, I'm just so happy about those horns. Those horns turned out exactly the way I wanted, maybe even a little better. Kind of gives a nice 3D look. So Photoshop is still struggling, and you know, if I had just had a single, like this image, as you can see, is several concentric circles. At least it's 3 concentric circles of this sort of tech pattern that I created, which really I just created by you know, when you turn on snapping on the grid in Illustrator, you can work with some very precise geometry in terms of creating shapes and arcs and lines and stuff like that. So I was able to create some very nice, very consistent, really slick looking imagery that just seemed to really feel, I guess, accurate to the Doom logo, that old school Doom logo, because it has The logo itself is very psychedelic looking because it's got all this very consistent but extremely busy kind of artwork, and it's a really phenomenal kind of logo, and you could just look at it for hours, just kind of examining all these different parts. It's pretty strange. So it's just now letting me save it. It was all just merging the layers. It was taking that long to merge the layers, and now I've got to wait some more. And Photoshop crashed. That's... well, I didn't care for that. Boy, that kind of sucks. It just... alright. Well, then, is this the previous... is the previous one, or is this the one... this said, yeah, that's the old one. So all that time was wasted. That's nice. Real pleased about that. I think this computer has definitely started to go slower over time. I do not like that. I gotta say, don't like that. Don't like that. Let's see how big this sucker is, and it's pretty big. Because this is 10,000 by 10,000 pixels, this canvas here. And this image is significantly larger than that. It seems to be like maybe 14 or 15,000 pixels across. It's probably more than it needs to be. And so I'm afraid that I'm probably going to have to reduce the quality by half in Photoshop if I want this to not be such a cluster cuss when yeah, because bringing this into After Effects, just because keep in mind it's a much smaller file right now because this was just exported from Illustrator, so it's not really as complex as it's about. Yeah, okay, it says right here 14863 by 14916. So I was really on the money. Really on the money with describing what I assumed was the pixel size here. So if I were to yeah, it looks so interesting, and it could look so much better if I could get that darn effect going, but especially now that I see it with black, that's just such a terrific kind of image. But I'm going to have to reduce it significantly. I don't want to reduce it by half because that would take me to about 7,500 pixels, and I would have to blow the image up a little bit to I'd have to blow the image up a little bit to, because if it was 7,500 pixels, then I'm now having to effectively make it about as big as it is here. So it'd have to be almost like 200% scale. Now it says recovering large document format. I really wonder if this saved my project, because I'm not really used to Photoshop being able to retrieve stuff when it crashes. And looky here, it seems to have... well, isn't that just miraculous? Wow! How wonderful. Of course it's loading at a snail's pace because I've also got After Effects open. It's out, and this maybe someday there will be a few more followers, and really the whole idea behind being, because if I had a question about something I did, I'd be able to answer it. so that if it crashes again, I'll be sure that I have this. Boy, I tell you, it's just a slow kind of a. I'm just to make it a PSD. It's showing where my cursor is. That's really annoying. You're screwing up so much today, computer. Didn't pick the best day to stream, I guess. Okay, so all the win. Why don't I try to get this working by? Why can't? Where am I? Okay. It just quit on me again. Did it? Why is it acting like it didn't quit? What is happening here? Alright. It didn't save, interestingly, did not save my effects with the lights here. Now, maybe to make things easier, I should reduce the file size significantly, or the resolution significantly. I don't know. I don't like how slow this is. This is such a just achingly slow process. Kind of reminds me of using a computer in the late 90s. Yep. Okay. Man, it's just, yeah, it's pretty slow there. Probably 40 pixels ought to do it. Oh, no. We have to wait for that to finish. Okay. That's slow. Halfway there. Okay. I don't like how slow this is. This is not good for streaming. That'd be another thing, is that if somebody were actually saying something in the chat room, have something to do while waiting for the filter to... See, I don't even know if this is going to be enough. Yep, that's totally not what I wanted. I don't even see the effect there. It doesn't look like anything happened. It's terrific. This is... Yeah, I remember I tried streaming some Doom map that went just unacceptably slow, and I feel like I'm not learning my lesson here, which is stop doing things because you can't. Your computer sucks. Let's just make it same color as the light there. Make it I don't know, just a wee bit smaller. Yeah, that's a little big. There, that's nice, that's nice. And what's terrific is that I can have the effect be on the top layer so that it kind of, you can see it affecting the lights there, so that's kind of neat. Now, there's another kind of thing it didn't save here, which was the effect I had with the with all this kind of tubing or wiring, whatever it is. So we're just going to make another layer there. Good gravy. I wonder if I should just go ahead and reduce this. I don't want to, but I feel like I'm gonna have to. So I feel like if I reduce the alright. You know what, preview, it's okay. You don't have to. I know it'll look fine. Ah, Mike! No. Oh, jeez, now this. Now it is going to be significantly smaller if I will have to essentially blow it up to twice its size in Illustrator, but I want a very, very high-res image. I just feel like that 4K or 5K isn't quite enough here. I'm just trying to have as high resolution of an image as possible to work with, so that when I reduce it a little bit, probably to about maybe 5 or 6, well, maybe 5 or 6K ultimate for the final image might do, but oh boy. Ah boy, did I make a mistake here? Yeah, you can do it. You can make it. You can make the progress bar go 100%. Yeah, not much to say about that. Just waiting for Photoshop to do its thing. Thanks, Adobe. Thanks for doing the thing. I better save before it just inevitably crashes again. And even saving, I gotta freaking wait. Now here's the last thing. Here's the last layer, which is we got that piping, that wiring, and we're going to tell it that you need to be beveled and embossed, please. Why did I do that without anti-aliasing? Was that smart? Nope. Yeah, we better do the anti-aliasing. That looks weird. That's okay. So now bevel and emboss. This looks weird. Why does this look weird? I feel like something got lost in translation here. Alright, we're gonna try this again. Okay. Maybe I should make the tolerance 16. In fact, let's just look at this. Oh, I see. The way it got reduced there did kind of mess with it a bit, but reducing the size, reducing the resolution does cause this slight contrasty, almost unsharpened mask effect. It's kind of an odd thing, and you can. There's different filters that you can use to kind of mitigate that, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure what I should have done, but okay, that's more like it. I mean, that's not really more like it because that's sort of weird, but it needs to be something more along these lines and a little smaller. It needs to be like, yeah, like maybe more like 5. It's a little odd looking, but just gonna run with it. Less softening. Let's see if any of these contours look okay, because oh, that one's kind of neat. Huh. You do get this peculiar effect. I don't like that, though. That's not really what I was aiming for. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. That's something. Let's turn down the linear burn a little bit. It's a little extreme. A little too much contrast there. Now I got this wild effect happening. And I'm going to make it a little bit less dramatic on here. Maybe 3. So that's essentially what I wanted. I do think I'm going to increase the bevel size for the, I guess we could almost call it piping now, whatever you want to call those kind of, all those sort of segments there. I don't like them being the size they are, so we're going to try 5 for the size. And that's, yeah, that's a pretty nice look in a way. Kind of like that. Saving again. And this crazy thing we're going to turn into a nice little PNG. You're going to save there, Photoshop? Or are you going to stay at 0? Oh, don't give me that windmill. You better not crash again. What is up with this thing? Oh yeah, you better save. That's what I asked you to do. I asked you to save! And stuff like this, like these little panels here, just look especially nice. I'm just really pleased with how this looks. Now, because it's reduced to half the file size, let's see if I can just save a gosh darn PNG here. And it seems like the layer merging is happening much more quickly, so I have a feeling that the image is not going to crash. I really hope it doesn't crash. Yep, looks like it's, I guess, saving. Oh gosh, I really hope it's saving. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. When you're dealing with just enormous images like this, even on a fairly fast computer, you can really tax the hardware. This is a computer from 2012, and it's not the best, you know. I'm sure that the modern Macs, iMacs, whatever, are far more robust in terms of what they can accomplish, but this is the best I can work with right now, so sorry. Chat room's a ghost town, as usual. Alright, let's quit. Let's quit Photoshop so we can have a little bit more to work with here. So now, hopefully, what do I get here? So now we get an image that's about half the size. It's okay. We're going to go to 200% here. And now I'm going to access some effects. Where are my effects? Now CC Collider on, I have a field day with this thing. Or not. Interesting. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's some beautiful kind of things happening here. If I could just create an illusion of depth that was a bit better. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to open up Photoshop again. Sure am. Unless I... Well, what would happen if I did a bevel and emboss on this? I kind of have a feeling of how it might look, but I feel like, yeah, that, well, I've got to... If we made the size like 500. Oh, it has a max size of 250. Just like Photoshop. Well, that's interesting. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. Damn, that is kind of interesting, though. That is not what I expected, but it is kind of neat. It doesn't look as nice as I'd like. Let's try overlay. That's a little better. What is outer bevel doesn't, outer bevel's kind of gross. Emboss is interesting. Then you got pillow emboss. Wow, look at that. That's kind of cool. And an inner bevel. That pillow emboss is kind of neat. Just testing out some different effects here. That is wild looking. That's real crazy. I did not expect it to look like that. I did not. It does kind of have a slight 3D effect to it that is kind of badass. So here's what we're going to do, folks, to try to emphasize this effect more. Well, you know what? I'm not going to open up the Photoshop file. I gotta check a text. Yeah, yep. I gotta answer a text here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Huh? Now, the thing I'm gonna do is open up the image. Yeah, see, it's like twice the size now. It's like 20 something megs, now it's 40 something, about 50. Now, I gotta say, it looks fan-freaking-tastic. This is so crazy looking. I didn't expect it to look this interesting. I'm really, really just kind of pleased with it. Now, yeah, so here's the PNG. So what if I created a gradient effect, like a radial gradient effect? Gosh, look how... It's too bad you have to, like, center it manually. That kind of sucks. Because to be as perfect, as precise as I'd like to be, well... Let's just try to, whoops. You know what'll kind of make this easier for me is if I do it this way and I kind of like scoot the white right next to the black, like this. Oops. Yeah. So that there's a real hard edge between them. See, this can let me, this can make it more clear whether I'm in the middle or not, and it seems like I'm just about in the middle. I'm gonna go up a bit. So what I'm gonna do is make a nice transition here. Maybe do an overlay. It's not too bad. Some of these look better than others. Hard light. I kind of like the way vivid light looks. There seems to be definitely an effect going on, so maybe it doesn't need to be quite that extreme. Maybe let's try 35%. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now when I save as a ping, which should hopefully not take too long because we're only dealing with a single layer here. We should get a pretty nice image out of this. Should update momentarily as soon as this is saved. And what I can do is grab the artwork from Illustrator stick it in here, see how it looks. I'm really just kind of just pleased with the crazy text stuff I kind of created here. Let's see how this looks at a 100%. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is slightly more than what it was, not 100%, but I don't like that effect on the edge there. So that's something I wish I could kind of do something about. It does kind of create this odd effect that I don't entirely like. It's like, what if the highlight color was different? Like it was more like a something like that kind of works. Wow, it's so crazy looking. Is Photoshop still saving? No, it seems to be done. Now, we should see an update on here momentarily. And we do. Now, if we go to... well, the effect wasn't quite as dramatic as I was hoping. No? I don't know why it didn't really do a whole lot. I mean, it's still pretty neat looking, but I thought that I had an idea in my head of how this was going to look, and it doesn't quite match up to that. So I'm going to increase the opacity on this so that there's more contrast, and then see what happens. Of course, it's got to merge the layers again. Now let's open up a file here. Photoshop's almost done updating me. Did I get a response there? Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, I got company coming over. So unfortunately, I'll have to go ahead and call it a day here. I am just waiting patiently now for Photoshop to finish because I want to see how whether or not this effect ends up being the way I want it to be. And we're about to find out if that's the case. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. Send it to my friend. Because I really like how that came out. I think it's very psychedelic. I think that there's something that seems very DMT-like about it. It's a just terrific kind of effect, and I'm gonna keep playing with it and seeing what kind of effects I get. I feel that might look even better. So, am I getting an update now from this version of it with that gradient? Okay, it looks like Photoshop or After Effects is trying now, and yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of an effect there. That's kind of unfortunate. That's okay. It's really strange. It's just because of the CC Kaleida being the way it is, it just didn't do what I was expecting. You can see the effect there, you know, but once you have the Kaleida on, you're not really going to see it anymore. And the thing is, the Kaleida adds that wonderful, oh, look at that. That's kind of wild. Maybe that's why it wasn't working. So I'm just going to export this real quick by itself. Icon of Sin. I mean, it's more than just the icon of sin, but come on. So it seems like the effect begins to disappear when I decrease the size here. If I take it down to 90%, for instance, it doesn't really disappear too much. Yeah, let's just get the fudge out of here. Let's get out of Photoshop so we can not eat up the resources too much. Kind of curious as to how it might look if I dramatically... Wow. You can get some pretty bizarre effects out of this. This is some pretty out of this world stuff, folks. I really... Oh, yeah. That's what I was going for. Hoo boy, that is pretty neat. Oh. Illustrator didn't... Okay. Hopefully this won't just take forever. Oh, okay, that was pretty quick. It's not a very complex. I mean, it's complex looking, but it's not complex like in terms of the shapes and stuff. It's a lot easier to compute. We now have this bad boy here, and we'll kind of put him at about 80%. So I'm going to somehow find a way to integrate this guy, because I want him to be better integrated. Right now he's just literally pasted on top, but I'm going to be messing with this and later tonight, and the deadline's tomorrow, so I gotta hurry the F up on this. So I think it's kind of cool so far.